Hello and welcome to Bitsbox World, Builds Made Easy. Welcome to the channel, and today is a bit of an experiment for me. On my channel I use a lot of static grass, and this is my 2mm here, just meadow grass, and I use that for covering a lot of my basing material or some of my scatter terrain. I've also got this yellow 4mm grass as well, which is sort of a dead grass effect, and then this forest green, which is 5mm, and all of this is static grass. It looks really good when you get it right when you're flocking your builds. And I wanted to have a go at making some tufts. I've been making some impromptu tufts on some of my scatter terrain of late, and I thought, why not pre-make some so I can stick onto some of my builds. I don't have one of those fancy static grass applicators though, so I'm gonna have to come up with a different way, and I think this way is pretty good. So you're going to need a bit of cardboard, so this is just your box cardboard, and I've got some baking paper there as well. Greaseproof paper will be fine. I'm going to be trying a couple of different variants on this to see which ones come out as the best type of tufts of grass. So I'm going to stick a couple of pieces of box cardboard together, so that makes it a bit thicker. And with these, I'm going to poke some holes in them to see if I can stand up the grass into those holes. So doubling up the cardboard just gives me a greater thickness. So the idea is it's going to allow the grass to stand up nicely within the slots that I make. And then I've got a single piece as well to see how that fares. And then I'll be doing one with my standard technique that I use, which is pinch and pull on the static grass. Pinch and pull. Those that have been part of the channel for a while, you would have seen me using that technique before. So lay down your cardboard just on a cutting mat, and then you want to poke some holes in. So I start off by just poking through with a screwdriver just to get the initial hole, and I'm going to make quite a few tufts, so I do want quite a few holes across these bits of cardboard. Why don't you leave me a comment? Let me know which technique you think is going to be best. Single piece of cardboard, double cardboard, or no cardboard at all. And I did think about, just whilst I'm poking some more holes in there, what would the benefit of this be over getting an applicator? Well, those static grass applicators, from what I can tell, they start off at about £25–30, and they go all the way up to 80 or more. And I thought, can I do this in a way that is cheaper? Can I do this with cardboard? And you're joining me on my experiment. I want to try and make tufts that look as good as, or near as good as, those that you can make with an adapter or an applicator without having to buy one. So what I'm doing here, why I'm poking these holes in, well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay them across the baking paper, and then use them as a guide to paint some PVA glue into them. And using different size paintbrushes, you can make the holes bigger or smaller. So I'm going to go with a sort of chunky, what would you call this, a tank brush, I guess, just to make some of those holes a bit thicker. So I've got some thick holes and some thinner holes as well. Place the cardboard over your baking paper, because that's going to capture the PVA glue that we paint into those holes, where we will poke in the static grass to stand up. And I do want to try this on just a blank piece of just baking paper as well, to show you my pinch and pull technique versus just this experimental cardboard technique as well. So add some dots of PVA glue. This is where you're going to be putting the grass, and what that should make is just a nice little tuft of grass that can be pulled off of this baking paper, and because it's grease proof, it should just peel off when it's all dry and done. I am going quite thick with the PVA glue as well. I want a decent drop of that so it can just receive the static grass, and I'm going to try this 5mm forest static grass to start off with. So my technique of pinch and pull, those that don't know, I just pinch a big clump and then I pull off the bottom, and what that leaves is a tuft in your fingers already. And I've just been applying them straight to my builds up until this point, just in a bit of PVA glue on some of my scatter terrain. But I want to make tufts that I can use later and store away, so I don't have to do it each time. And then once you've pulled out, pinched and pulled out just a little clump, you can use a paintbrush. Don't get it in the PVA glue, but just use it on the edge with your finger against the static grass, and it just pulls it up so it stands on end inside that PVA glue. And you can see it starts to make these little tufts. Same again here with the 4mm yellow grass as well. Just pinch and pull and stand that up in the PVA glue. Moving on to the cardboard then. So this is the 1-piece cardboard thickness. I'm going to paint some glue into those holes, into those slots. And the idea, my thinking about this, is that the grass will just stand up within this. So I won't have to do the bit with the paintbrush to stand up my grass. I'll just be able to poke it straight in, and the cardboard will hold it up. So that's the theory. That is the idea. I have to find out if that works or not. But what I initially found was it's easier to put your grass in straight away. You don't need to use a paintbrush to pull the grass up to stand on end. And the same with the double cardboard thickness as well. That stood nice and easily within the slots. And I'm gonna do some of the smaller tufts as well, just because I made all those holes. And then I wanted to try the 2mm as well. I didn't think this was gonna work, but I just thought I'd give it a go as well. It's a little bit too short to do a pinch and pull. You end up more with a clump. So we'll see how that goes. But with the smaller holes on the cardboard as well, that was really easy to just stick it in to those holes, and it all stood up on end. Same with the double length as well. So I wasn't sure which one was going to be best. So when that's dried, let's have a look at what's going on here. So this is one here. I just used my standard tactic of pinch and pull, and I shook off all of the loose grass, but you can really see some clumps, and it's all standing up. And let's see how the single thickness cardboard works. Moment of truth. Shake off the loose grass, and if we start to peel from the back, what you see is it starts to spring out of the holes and you get some clumps. But if you got PVA glue on the rim of any of your holes, just your clumps stick to the cardboard. That seems really obvious now, but you can see that they've pulled out and they're just stuck onto the cardboard. So some of them disintegrated as I pulled them out of the cardboard, but some stayed in the clumps that I had made. So didn't get the best result with that one, but that could be because I didn't make the holes big enough either. But you can definitely see that you got some clumps. And it was even worse with the double thickness cardboard, but we learn these things, we give it a go. That's what it's all about. The grass though, it did just it all just disintegrated when I tried to pull those clumps out. So I gave up on that one. That's certainly one that is a fail. But you can see the difference here. There's my pinch and pull versus my one thickness cardboard. I did like how the one thickness cardboard ones looked. They stood up a little bit taller and a bit straighter, whereas these ones became quite spread out, but you can see they're really easy to just pull off, and then you can glue them on to any of your bases that you're making. And I wanted to show this. This is just a stone that I've made just on a base, and I used my pinch and pull technique straight on to that stone with a bit of PVA glue. But you can pre-make these clumps, as I've proven, and you can stick them straight on. Just a bit of PVA glue, they will sit straight on, and they look just as good as my pinch and pull, if not actually slightly better, because you're a bit more controlled when doing it on the baking paper. And there we go, there's the result there. So some really easy, cheap ways of making some static grass tufts that doesn't require the applicator. Saves you a bit of money, which is always good. But I wanted to also, just if you wanted to hang on, show you if I made these holes bigger, what it looks like. And this is my beast of a brush. This is really, really thick. Just pushing it through, making the holes nice and wide. What that will do, obviously, is make your tufts a bit bigger. Also, it allowed me to aim a bit better because the holes were bigger, so I could put the PVA glue in without getting it on the cardboard. And what you can see is they come out a lot easier. One did stick, I'll be honest, one did stick to the cardboard, but those tufts are nice and big. That was using some of the leftovers, and I made some bigger versions as well, just on the paper as a comparison, and they look pretty good, if I don't say so myself. So that is my cheap and easy way of making your static grass tufts, so you can put them on your builds, on your scatter scenery, or on your models' bases. I hope you enjoyed that, and you'll join me again for another video. Thanks for watching Bits Box World, Builds Made Easy.